Hello tubers, you're looking at a 1967 Cushman Minimizer. Now today I'm going to be converting it to lithium-ion batteries, and I'm going to have a lot of good information for you. I know you're not going to be building one of these probably, but if you're going to do a motorcycle, a four-wheeler, maybe even a go-kart and convert it to an EV system, there should be a lot of helpful information here for you, so stay tuned. Now, I'll start out with a little bit of history of this machine and why I have it. Originally I bought it for, there's a 24-volt motor in it, and it was in real nice condition. Everything else is all rusted out and the frame was gone. So I just bought it for the motor, but then I thought it might be a neat thing to have around the yard. So we punched in on doing some body work on it. These fenders were all rotted out around this area, so I did some 3/4 inch square tubing, heated them up and bent them accordingly. And then on the front here, this came all the way down, all the way around in the front, and covered up the front wheel, and it was kind of banged up, so I thought why not tube that out, cut it up higher, make it look a little cooler. And then in the back, these side sails had holes in them and stuff, so this is actually 3/4 inch conduit, and then I put the rectangular tubing out to the rear deck, and the rear deck was kind of rough too, so I shortened it up a little bit and made the trailer hitch for it. And actually, you see me with videos goofing around with this out in the yard, but it actually gets used a lot for yard work. Let's give you a little history of the electrics back in 1967. What we have here is the speed controller for this thing that it came with. That mounted right inside here, and that door I put on there for access to the different one I have on there now. But how this worked is there's a sweeper arm on here for the contacts. There was a rod that came from the gas pedal, went to this, and ran the sweeper arm to the different positions for the contacts. Now on this side, this is off. This would be low, medium, and high is straight through to the motor for full power. On the back side here, we have low and medium wire wound resistors. The problem with this thing is, these, as you can see by the discoloration, they get really hot, and it gets really hot underneath. That's all wasted energy and makes the machine quite inefficient. Now originally, this was 24 volt, and I did change it over to 48 volts. I have 4 12 volts in a series circuit. It's controlled now by this All-Trax controller. It's a 650 amp. It never even gets warm. Really a great piece. You can plug a 232 cable into this and hook it onto your desktop, and you can program this for current and voltage to the motor, whatever you desire and how much tip in, all that kind of neat stuff. Now this solenoid that's in here, what this is for is it's kind of almost like a safety. What it is, it's no matter what, you'll always, when you leave off the gas, this shuts off. No matter what, it's always going to open a circuit, so there's no getaway. Now, what we have here, this is a pre-charged resistor, and what that does, that keeps a real light current on this to make it easier when this is opening and closing on the All-Trax unit. There's a diode right here. Now what that's for is when you energize a coil or a solenoid. When you energize it, no problem. When you open and release it, you're going to create a high voltage on that wire that goes back to the All-Trax controller. That's not a good thing, so that's the reason for that diode being across the terminals that energize that solenoid. Now, if you folks would like to learn a little bit more about electricity, see this 400 amp meter? You'd have to run some beefy cables to the battery, you would think, to be able to use that. The way that's designed, no, you don't. What you have, I have 2 small wires that go to each side of that meter. All that's measuring is the resistance in this one jumper wire here. You'd think for 400 amps you'd need a big wire to measure it. No, that's how them work. So, a little more information for you people who like to learn about electricity. I don't know if any of you caught this connector up here, and it goes to the batteries. Let me show you what I'm doing with that. Originally, I used to use the big battery charger here to charge that. And what I did was I got 4 trickle chargers on a power strip and Velcro. You can take it off, take it wherever you wish. And then this all goes through this long cable and that plugs into the Cushman. So I got the batteries out. Everything's out of the way to start figuring out how we're going to lay them batteries in, the new ones. And the Ultrax controller, mounted it vertically now instead. And that sheet of plywood that was in the bottom here was a little bit skunky, so I'll be cutting a new one for that too. So let's get started. Good enough. Yeah, that'll do. Well, tours, I had to punch out on a project here for a little bit. See a set of boots sitting over there. And it really comes in handy having a parts department upstairs, because then you ain't got to run to the store. Phone rang. Mother's sump pump wasn't working, so I took a new switch over there and a pump. And as you can see, the switch came back. Okay, getting back to work here, I scratched my coconut quite a bit trying to figure out what I could utilize off of what they had here. And instead of making you people suffer through that, I did a lot of pondering, and anyway, I think I know what will work now, so I'm going to take a trip upstairs. I thought maybe you guys would like to come along too. Parts department. And yes, it is very cold right now up here. Get some more lights on. And that noise you hear, that's the smog pump running for the waste oil stove downstairs. So, can't really shut it off for making the video, unless I'd hook it to the air compressor. Now I'm looking for some 2x2 angle iron. This stuff here is all a little too thick. And this guy here looks pretty good. And I'll need some kind of upper bracket. So, we're done shopping. Let's grab this. Ooh, it's cold on the hand. Let's get out of here. Yeah. Much quieter down here. Yeah, you hate that when you gotta shut the music off. Good Jethro Tull was on. 4 lights. Alright, let's talkie, pour new. Alright, threaded rod, 22 inches long. We're going to start with that. Let's see if I can do 4 at once. See how fast the car's going around. Looks good to me. Next. And even the ones I'm not going to use, well, I put them in the storage. Usually I'll dress the ends on them too, so they're ready for the next project. Oh, I decided I'm going to use these end plates and make a few cuts here. And we'll be all set. Drop that down a little on the air pressure. coarser grit for this angle grinder. And to kind of polish the metal off a little bit, I use one of these gold pads, 3M. It takes a little more off. A little bit of a finer finish. The holes on these are smaller than the spacers, so we're going to adjust that right now.
Yes, originally done by Lithium.
Let's see what our speed is here. I put the frequency drive on this thing a while back, and then I got a German-made chuck. You don't even need a key for it. Just a point with your hand, and it's always tight enough. It's amazing how well it works. And we have a customer. It's time to start the assembly. Now, you might remember I showed you the spacers that are inside of there so you can't crush these. And you got to have these spacers in between each battery. You put them all together so you don't end up distorting the case. Well, it's the next day. Got some serious heat coming out of my free heater here, my Westall stove. I'm going to shove the damper in just a little more. Watch the flames inside. Everything literally starts to turn blue. It's kind of like a gasifier. But it's making some serious heat right now. If you are interested, I got a pretty cool video on. You could build one of these for yourself if you wish. Check it out. Okay, let's cut up our angle. I'll show you where these are going in a minute here. Gotta get fancy here, put a couple of 45s on her. I always like to catch some of the shavings, keep them off the little doggy's feet. I got my two pieces cut. I bet you know where these are going for some reason. And see how rough that cut is on the edge? What I use to dress them down is one of them 3M gold wheels. Give you a little demo here. Around the corners a little bit. There. Yeah. See how sweet that looks now? Well, all set with these now. I'll show you another neat little tip maybe some of you folks don't know. You ever have barcode labels you want to get off of something? Well, what you use is this, I call it gummy remover, but it's general adhesive remover. Take your barcode and soak it down with this 2 or 3 times. Now, after a few minutes, I pick at it always a little bit to see if it's soft enough. And there we go. Good enough. Time to pop a couple holes in these. So. Show you how easy to come out of that chuck. These things are pretty sweet. No key required, and ready to go. We started out with a 3/16 bit, and now we're going to a 5/16. I like them chucks. Enco, I think, is where I bought them, if I remember right. And we'll finish up with this bit here to remove the booger where the drill went through. Stay out of the camera way. Okay. There you have it. Just like downtown. Okay, battery pack's all together. Brackets bolted on the bottom. I had some straps that would have worked perfect for this instead of using a chain, but I guess I couldn't find them. Straight crank. For you folks too, why you're probably wondering why I'm doing this. This battery here is twice the capacity from what this had before, and another interesting thing is it weighs 102 pounds less. A couple more holes and we'll be happening. Battery's all mounted. And while you weren't looking, I made a couple of L brackets for an upper support for the batteries. And now we're getting my favorite part here. I'm going to make some bus bars to go between the terminals on the batteries. I have the bus bars. I put 4 of them together, so it's a little quicker to do this. I got them center punched where we're going to be drilling. And then we get all done, we're going to shorten them, cut them right there around the corners. Now, hey, if any of you folks would like one of these variable speed frequency drives on your drill press, I actually have a video on how to install one. You can use them on a mill or lathe too. They're really sweet. Some of these had a little bit of booger on them, where they kind of mushroomed out, so we're going to be rid of that. One side of the terminals exposed. Kind of nice keeping the tape over the rest of them in case something goes wrong. Okay, side A all done. The positive off of this is going to go to the solenoid here eventually. So we're all done. Let's get this covered up. Now I'm going to be putting some plates in between on the parallel batteries. Now, just so you know, the ones that they're not going to go on, which are not going to be parallel, or them are in a series. See, we got 8 volts here. So you got to make sure you don't poof up while you're putting these plates on. You got to go between 2, 2, 2 in the parallel. Now, this is going to be the negative on this side, and that's going to come around and go up through the all-tracks controller. And here's what it looks like, all together, ready to go. Now, we got our negative here and our positive here, and you can see on the meter, 56 volts, and these are all added together. No, I got two and twos all the way down in parallel, and then they're bridged for a series on the twos, and that's how you come up with that 56 volts. So you know what's going on here. Well, coming along pretty good here, and this cabling and that, getting the main runs done. And I got to make up a negative cable yet to get to the other terminal there. So come on over, I'll show you what I'm up to. Got the one end all set here, and working on the other end right now. That's a used cable I'm using for this, and it was kind of skunky on the end, so I scruff them down good with a wire brush. That's horrible. Ah. There we go. After the wire wheel cleans up the mess I made, we're looking a little better. Throw on a piece of heat shrink and should be good to go. No more coffee for me today. Should be okay now. I have the rest of the wiring all tidied up here and tucked away. Give it a little more of a appealing look. And the lights and everything's all wired. Now for my 400 amp meter here. Originally I had the bus bar in here, and I didn't think that'd be enough resistance. And I tried it, and no, it's reading way too low. So I went back with the tried and true method that I used on the old setup with this little jumper wire here, and then I have a 1 amp fuse on each one of these circuits that goes to that amp meter. I'll give you a quick look at how everything works on this. For the gas pedal, down here I have a PB6 box. This changes the resistance to that controller. Now the PB6 box comes in right here on terminals 2 and 3, changing resistance to decide how much power goes to the motor from this guy. It's a 650 amp, and it's a AXE 4865. And you can program it with your desktop with a 232 into here for how you'd like it to work. Now, Alltrax has a real good website, and this is for Easy Go Golf Cart. They have a good wiring diagram and lots of information in case you were ever deciding to maybe try to set something up. Now that green wire you see on number 4 terminal goes to this little hidden switch underneath here. And what that's used for is when somebody's kid wants to drive this thing, you throw that switch, and then you ain't got to worry about him killing himself on it. Now, the motor I used here is called a series wound, and I wouldn't recommend you guys maybe considering getting one of these because it's got a tapered shaft, and I had to make a bushing up to get that to work on this. So if you got a machine shop, it might not be a big deal. Otherwise, like get a motor or something with a 3/4 inch shaft if you're ever going to do a project. And notice how big that pulley is. It's like almost touching the frame down there. It's the biggest one I could get on there, so it's geared up a little. But anyway, that's your tour of the motor. Well, everything's all wired. I got the ground on here now, and it's time for a test drive, the moment we've all been waiting for. I want my ride. Right, how about an onboard ride? I'm going to try to hang on to the machine and the camera. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Yep, time to put her away, I guess. Oh. Hope you enjoyed the Cushman project here. I got some more coming up in the future. I got a little mess to clean up here, so yeah, we hope to catch you again. Take care. Let's see how it works. Whoa! That was close. No, there's a project I've been wanting to do for a while that I haven't told you about yet. So I recently purchased some parts here, and also Ultrax has these new style motor controllers. Wanted to try one of them out too.